President and Chief Executive Officer of the National Council on U.S.-Arab Relations. We have an extraordinary topic to be discussed, described, and analyzed and commented upon by a team of superb specialists having to do with racism and prejudice in the United States and the Arab region. In the context of this, we owe a debt of thanks, especially to the King Faisal Center for Islamic Studies and Research, which has been playing a pioneering role for more than half a century to enlighten and to educate and to form insights, knowledge, understanding, and improve people's critical analyses of matters pertaining to, especially Muslims worldwide, just under 2 billion. And on the part of the National Council on U.S.-Arab Relations, Madrasa al-Watani li-Alakat Riki, wa ana ismi John Duke Anthony, Rais Watan Fidi, we have an annual policymakers conference, Arab-U.S. Policymakers Conference. This year will be at 29th, and it will be held November 17, 18, and 19. Of course, it will be virtually, but we invite one and all to participate, being listener participants, and we will send you a list of the confirmed speakers momentarily. It's a blue ribbon cast. Now, this year marks 401 years since the first slaves from Africa landed on the shores of the United States, indeed at my native Virginia. Truth in labeling, I was born and raised in the former capital of the Confederacy, which had a lot to do with the Civil War, the war between the states, the northern states and the southern states, the latter trying to secede from 1861 to 1865. We're also celebrating this year an anniversary and a commemoration of the Emancipation Proclamation by our then President Abraham Lincoln, the emancipation of American slaves. And heavily, if not directly, more than partially for that, he paid for it, that decision, with his life. And yet, almost a century later, indeed exactly a century later, one did not have the reality, let alone the sense, that those who had formerly been enslaved were indeed free, either legally, socially, politically, or otherwise. And therefore, you had to have 3 human rights, civil rights laws, 1963, 64, 65, in order to further enshrine the human and civil rights of Americans of color. And in my situation, my father was a leader as the director of public safety in charge of police and fire departments for the